Well, border wall projects now have a start date on the Texas border, and construction companies are getting contracts to build. Not technically the president's border wall, but maintenance and extensions of current fencing. Tonight, our border reporter Oscar Margain explains how the projects mean that nature and religious sites will often end up in no man's land.
It's hard to say which one was my favorite, because for me, my favorite bird is the one I'm looking at right now.
There are two things we learned about Seattle resident Paula Crockett that really gets her going. One, of course, is nature. She's a birder. The other, well, she puts it best.
Now I'm a dissident.
Paula and a handful of bird watchers have come to the National Butterfly Center, a 100-acre property that extends to the edge of the Rio Grande, to spot rare species of animals.
I have wanted to see one of these for ages.
A wildlife center, now in the path of a border wall. Customs and Border Protection announced a construction contract for 6 miles of levee wall with bollard fencing along the current levee road that divides the Butterfly Center, and another 8 miles on the east side of the county for a total of $312 million.
Once they come in here with the bulldozers, all of this will be gone.
The center's director, Mariana Trevino Wright, has been fighting this wall project for nearly 2 years.
We're going to lose 70% of our land, and they're going to excavate this earthen levee and clear all of the vegetation for a minimum 150-foot enforcement zone.
The government has waived more than 24 environmental laws. Trevino Wright says that puts hundreds of animal species at risk.
So there is nothing in any current lawsuit that we have faith will stop the seizure of the land.
The project will affect other wildlife refuges and residential areas. It will also leave the historical 150-year-old chapel La Lomita in no man's land. The Catholic Church is seeking a restraining order on the government, citing infringement on their religious freedom. The government offering $100 for 65 acres.
And it makes me unhappy and very angry.
Paula often voices her opposition. She supports a border security plan, but one that takes these concerns into account.
Wildlife doesn't know borders. They know habitat.
At this point, there's no stopping the project, set to break ground in February. In Mission on the Texas-Mexico border, I'm Oscar Margain reporting.